Hello, class. Welcome to another week here at Beetle U. I am Professor Moptop. As always, it is very nice to have you here. Thank you so much for attending each and every week. We've talked a lot about the White Album over our years. We're going to talk about the White Album demos, which we have mentioned from time to time. Several of the songs, many of the songs on the album, were actually demoed prior to the actual recording sessions beginning. For the White Album demos, there was a whole bunch of them. After the India trip, on a certain day, Professor Moptop in the audio will discuss which days it might have possibly been. There's a whole bunch of different theories, and nobody really knows for sure. But John, Paul, and George all demoed their songs onto a reel-to-reel tape recorder, which was a pro-grade one, but George had it in his possession. When you're it wasn't as easy to get recording equipment in the 1960s. They were extremely expensive, and there weren't that many of them. But when you're a Beatle, you can afford to get one and have it in your home. Eventually, it would become very common for much of this equipment to be in the possession of the musicians instead of just the studios. Well, George made these demos, mixed them down, made copies, and they gave them around, and eventually a couple of them got into the hands of the wrong people. So they were bootlegged widely throughout the years before some of the tracks were released on the third volume of the Beatles anthology. There's 19 of the songs that were demoed wound up on the album, and there's a whole bunch of other ones that didn't wind up on the album, but they wound up a bunch of other places. And this is what we're going to be talking about for the next couple of weeks. The two pieces of audio you're going to get this week, one includes all about the White Album demos and when they were recorded and how. The other one is a song by Paul McCartney, and it is called Junk. There's a couple different versions of it. There's Jubilee, which is pretty much the same song, but it was written by Paul in India, and it's all about possessions and how we can be weighed down by possessions, but we can also get joy from these possessions. He demoed it at George's, and then he kind of sort of forgot about it throughout the White Album sessions, because he knew that there was that there was a lot better stuff for him to record other than this relatively simple song, or at least that's what he thought. But something that we've discussed several times, that the Beatles never let a good idea go to waste. They would never really forget these things. They would put them in the back of their brain, they would sort of remember it, but it wouldn't go away completely. And Junk also would ultimately find its way onto an album. Some of the themes in this relatively simple song that Paul wrote include the fact that garbage and junk could be pleasant memories for one person or could be junk for someone else. And he says bye-bye as in purchase, or as in goodbye. During the White Album sessions, he didn't record it, but during the Let It Be sessions, he did try it a couple times. Again, never too seriously, because he probably didn't think too much of it. Well, when he was selecting songs for his debut LP, which would be called McCartney, he fixed it up, he finished it, he clarified things a little bit, and he actually recorded two versions of it. One is called Junk, and then there's an instrumental version of which is called Sing Along Junk. And on this album, it's all Paul playing everything, with a little help from Linda, who adds some background vocals on Junk, but not Sing Along Junk. This is the only song that Paul demoed for the White Album that didn't wind up getting released as a Beatles song, which was pretty revealing at the time of who was in charge of the band. It was around the time that they started changing who the leader of the band would be. It was never clearly defined, and then when Brian Epstein died, it was even less defined. At any rate, look for some cool audio in your email boxes, and thank you a million times over. I hope you all enjoy Stuff to Learn, because there's always something to learn. Until next time, I'm Professor Moptop.